With Nick Saban out of the picture, it is crystal clear. Kirby Smart is clearly the best head coach in college football. And if you're a Georgia fan watching this, which most of you are, you're probably saying, no duh, Matt, Kirby Smart is the best. He's 94-16 as Georgia's head coach since 2016. Only one losing season being his first season. He's 9-2 in bowl games. He's 5-1 in the college football playoff. He's won 2 national championships, 2 SEC championships. He's won 6 out of 8 SEC East titles. Won 3 in a row from 2017, 2018, 2019. 3 in a row again, 21, 22, 23. 3-time SEC Coach of the Year, and he is crushing their traditional rivals. He's 6-2 against the Gators, 7-1 against Georgia Tech, and I believe he's 8-1 against Auburn, including the biggest Georgia-Auburn game of all time, where Georgia beat the number 2 Auburn Tigers in Atlanta for the 2017 SEC Championship game. The resume speaks for itself, but I want to break down why Kirby Smart is so good and why I think he's going to bring at least 2 more national championships to Athens, Georgia. Not only is he an ace recruiter, but he also develops his players. He makes them better, but he's great in-game. Right? He's an in-game coach. He can work the clock, right? He's great at clock management. He's great at in-game adjustments, but he also adapts to college football as well. He is a defensive wizard, right? He's a big reason why Alabama won all those national championships when he was the defensive coordinator. But when things are getting rough, when he needs to make a tough decision on a coach, he's going to make it, right? When things were not looking great offensively in 2019, Jim Chaney was kind of pushed out the door. He went to Tennessee, I believe. The Tennessee fans thought they were stealing away Georgia's offensive coordinator. No, Kirby Smart was trying to get him out of there. What does he do? He hires Todd Monken, who quickly became the best offensive coordinator and play caller that the Georgia football program has ever had, right? He lost Cortez Hankton to LSU. He's one of the best wide receiver coaches in college football. He brings in Brian McClendon, right? The guy just does what he does. Sam Pittman leaves for Arkansas. He brings in Matt Luke, who was a former head coach at Ole Miss, a really good coach. Matt Luke leaves. He brings in Stacey Searles, who continues to coach the offensive line really, really well. He lost Fran Brown to Syracuse. He brings in Dante Williams, a guy with West Coast ties. He brought in Will Muschamp. He brought in Mike Bobo, guys who are experienced, know the Georgia program, have been head coaches elsewhere. Every little detail, Kirby Smart is on top of it. And he does everything. You know, when you talk about players, you look for guys who can check the box. Kirby Smart checks every single box. As a head coach, I think he's going to be at Georgia for a long, long time. And he's going to keep this train absolutely rolling. And I think everyone knows this now. Every college football fan with half a brain should admit, yeah, Nick Saban's gone. Now Kirby Smart is the best head coach of college football. Some people may have thought that already, since Kirby Smart has led Georgia to 2 national championships since Nick Saban won one at Alabama. But until Nick Saban left, I always thought Nick Saban was the best coach. And what he did for Alabama last year with Jalen Milroe at quarterback, getting that team to play better and better as the season went all along, all he needed was a center who could snap the ball halfway decently, and they're probably beating Michigan in that Rose Bowl. But now that Nick Saban's gone, it is clear. It is Kirby Smart, then a little bit of a gap. Tell me if I'm wrong in the comment section. I know you will. A little bit of a gap. Then you're talking about guys like Brian Kelly, who, yeah, he's 20-7 at LSU, which is not great. But all time, he's 283 and 103-2. He's been around for a long time. He's a very successful coach, won wherever he was, whether it was at Grand Valley State, Central Michigan, Cincinnati, Notre Dame. He's got to do the job at LSU, though. It is not going to be a good look for Brian Kelly if he does not win a national championship at LSU when guys like Nick Saban, Les Miles, and Ed Orgeron have won. Any dummy can walk into LSU and they should be really good, and maybe you get a national championship out of it. So Brian Kelly going to LSU, if he leaves for the Michigan job, and Jim Harbaugh is on this list too, but Jim Harbaugh might be a better football coach than Kirby Smart, but he's not a better college football coach than Kirby Smart. Jim Harbaugh has succeeded everywhere, but he's going to do big things depending on where he lands in the NFL. But when he leaves Michigan, if Brian Kelly leaves LSU without a national championship, it's going to be a bad look on him. Again, Jim Harbaugh was one of the best coaches in college football. he's big time, and I think he's going to do well in the NFL. But let's talk about Steve Sarkisian, right? He's the guy that has Texas on the move, right? They're not completely back because you got to win a playoff game to be back and be a legitimate, have a team that plays for a championship. He is 25-14 at Texas. Not good. Not good, but there's a green arrow going up for him. There's no doubt about that. I think they're probably the number 3 team in my personal Coach DeBray rankings going into the 2024 season. I've got Georgia, Ohio State, Texas. So they should be very good. There's no excuses for them not to win 1 or 2 playoff games when they get there. Eventually, he's going to have to win a national title there, or else, it's going to be a bad look for him too. But he's a big-time offensive mind. Great at developing quarterbacks. Quinn Ewers probably needs to take another step forward, though, for that to kind of stay with Stark as this kind of quarterback whisperer type. But 71-49 overall, not great. He did that at Washington and USC. So I feel like he's a better coach than his record indicates. But his record's his record. But he needs to have a massive, massive 2024 season. Ryan Day, let's talk about Ryan Day a little bit, okay? 56-8 is not bad. But again, anyone should be able to walk into Ohio State and field a very good competitive team that can compete for championships, right? And he's got them doing that. Again, 56-8, 1-3 in the college football playoff, though. 1-3 is not great. He has 2 Big Ten titles, but 3 straight losses to Michigan. That can't happen. I mean, there are reports out there that they've spent like $13 million through NIL and the transfer portal. The time is now for Ryan Day. They've got a little bit of a window this year. They've got a lot of returning players, a lot of weapons on offense, wide receiver, running back, a lot of defensive players who are very, very good. They're going to be a really good team. This might be the year he needs to get it done because they are going to lose a lot of those players. But he's got Julian Sayin, the future at quarterback, with Will Howard coming from Kansas State. I think it's just good enough to maybe get them to the championship, but Ryan Day needs to get it done sooner than later. There's a lot of pressure on him. This probably needs to be the year. He's got it. I think he's got all the tools to make it happen. Are they going to be able to get by Georgia? They're probably going to have to beat Georgia if they want to win the national championship. This might be the year he needs to get it done. Lane Kiffin. I've always been a Lane Kiffin guy. I've always said this guy would absolutely crush it at Florida. He would always have a really good quarterback there. The way he uses the transfer portal, the way he can kind of turn a program around. He did at Florida Atlantic. He did at, he's doing it now at Ole Miss. He did it at Tennessee. That was not a bad Tennessee team that he had. He was only there for 1 year. I think they crushed Georgia that year. I think it was 2009. And then just left him in the dust. Just complete. That was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Not to hate on Tennessee or anything like that, but leaving them for Southern Cal was really, really funny. But he's a good coach. And I think Ole Miss, it's a stepping stone job. No one wants to stay in Oxford coaching Ole Miss forever. If he has one more really good year there, he'll probably bounce, as he should, because, I mean, it's Ole Miss, right? Not trying to hate on Ole Miss. It just is what it is. That's reality. It's a stepping stone job. He's not going to be there forever. He is a good coach. There's no doubt about it. He's 33-15 at Ole Miss, which is more than respectable. 94-49 all-time at the college level. So losing almost 50 games isn't great, especially when you don't have 100 wins. But he did at Tennessee, Southern Cal, which did not go well. That did not go well at all. Florida Atlantic, and now Ole Miss. Good coach. Another good coach. Not great, but good. He can get to that great status. Maybe eventually it's Mike Norvell. 69-32. He's got to change the culture at Florida State, though. You can't have guys quit on the team in the Orange Bowl. Florida State, Mike Norvell, you're not bigger than the Orange Bowl. And I'm going to say that again. I know I said it a lot after the Orange Bowl, but they've got to change the mentality and the culture of that program. At Georgia, they play to win. They play because they love the game. At Florida State, they're not playing for Florida State. They're playing for themselves. The roster quit. He's got to change that. He needs to turn that place into a place where people have pride and want to go out and play for Florida State, even if your feelings are hurt, right? Even if you think you got shafted by the committee. Georgia got shafted by the committee. And what did they do? They went out and wanted to play and wanted to win because they played to a standard. Florida State doesn't play to a standard yet. If he's a great coach, he will implement that type of mentality, that type of structure and standard at Florida State. Right now, it's not there. We'll see if he can build that within the program. And then, of course, Kalen DeBoer, Really good. Alabama got one of the best head coaches in college football. He's 104-12. 104-12. Yeah, he was at Sioux Falls, South Dakota, North Dakota. I don't know. I'm in the South. Just call it Dakota. Just call that giant, big old land that no one really lives in. Just call both Dakota. Don't need to switch it up. It doesn't need a North and a South. Just call it Dakota. Sioux Falls, Dakota, Fresno State, Washington. Dude wins. He is a winner. It's going to take a little bit of time to win at Alabama because he's got no Southern footprint. He's got to recruit on a completely different level. But he is a good coach. He's a good leader. And eventually, I think he'll get Alabama back to their winning ways. It just might take a little longer than people think. But there's no doubt, Kirby Smart is at the top. He's number one. He is top dog, best coach in college football. And there's no doubt about it. And everyone has to admit it now. Everyone. Kirby Smart's the best. Everyone else is looking up at him. And they're looking up at the Dogs heading into the 24 season. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you check us out over on Dawg Post. You can sign up to our free newsletter. That link is down below. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you over on Dawg Post.